My phone vibrated on my desk in my Nashville office, the screen lighting up with a text that hit me like a punch to the gut. "You're not worthy of coming to my engagement party." It was from my brother. I'm Gina Marshall, 28 years old, a cultural event planner who pours her heart into every single project. I stared at the message, my stomach twisting into knots. My own brother, the very same one I'd spent the last 3 months planning this perfect party for, booking the venue, arranging the catering, handling all the decorations, and all on my own dime, had just cut me completely out of the picture. His words were sharp and cold, like he'd been waiting for the perfect moment to finally say them. I'd been burning the midnight oil sketching table settings, calling vendors, basically doing everything in my power to make sure his big day would really shine. And now he didn't even want me there. I reread the text again, my hands starting to shake slightly. He didn't even give me a reason, just that I wasn't good enough. My first instinct was to immediately call him, demand some answers. But something inside me stopped me. I put my phone down on the desk, took a deep breath, and smiled. A plan was starting to form in my mind. A week later, I'd be on a plane headed to Hawaii, leaving his precious party completely in the dust. And when that day inevitably fell apart, my phone would be lighting up nonstop with calls I wouldn't even bother to answer. But I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Let's go back to the very beginning of how this all started, because trust me, it's a story you're absolutely not going to believe. If you've ever felt betrayed by your own family, drop your story in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more jaw-dropping drama. Dylan's text was still glaring up at me from my phone screen, as cold as a generic work email. For 3 long months, I'd poured my heart and soul into planning his engagement party. Every single detail was meticulously crafted to make his day nothing short of perfect. I'd scoured all of Nashville for the ideal venue, finally landing on a swanky downtown hotel with an amazing rooftop view of the city skyline. I spent countless late nights sketching table settings, trying to blend those rustic country vibes with elegant touches. Think mason jars filled with fairy lights, a subtle nod to our Tennessee roots. I even called in a bunch of favors to book Teresa Morgan's catering company, which is widely known for their mouth-watering southern spreads. And I worked closely with Brian Walsh to design custom decorations, everything from beautiful floral arches to personalized engraved name cards. Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager, basically became my go-to guy for all the logistics, making sure that every chair was perfectly in place. I did all of this completely for free, because Dylan is my brother, and family is supposed to mean something, right? I'd barely been sleeping, constantly juggling my day job as a cultural event planner with all the party prep. My inbox was overflowing with vendor contracts, my phone was buzzing nonstop with confirmations, all just to make his big moment shine. And he repaid me with a text saying I wasn't worthy. My chest tightened up, but I refused to cry. Instead, I dialed my mom, Nancy Marshall, hoping that she'd be able to see just how incredibly unfair this whole situation was. "Mom, did you even know about Dylan's text?" I asked, my voice steady but definitely sharp. Her pause told me absolutely everything I needed to know. "Gina, it's his big day," she said, her tone soft but firm. "He's just under a lot of stress right now. Don't make a fuss about this." I gripped my phone tightly, completely stunned. She was actually taking his side, brushing off my hurt feelings like they were completely meaningless. I hung up, my mind racing with a million different thoughts. How could she just dismiss me like that? I'd spent thousands of hours, not to mention my own money, just to make this party absolutely flawless. I decided to call Dylan next, needing to hear it directly from him. "Dylan, what is this all about?" I said, trying my best to keep my cool. His voice came through clipped and clearly annoyed. "Look, Gina, my fiancé, Emma Vaughn, and all of her friends, they want a certain vibe for the party. You just don't really fit that vibe. It's really nothing personal." "Not personal?" My blood started to boil. I'd built this entire event completely from scratch, and now I was suddenly the outsider. He kept rambling on about limited seating, about keeping things classy, but every single word felt like a jab. Emma's influence was so clear. She wanted her crowd front and center, and I was just collateral damage. I pressed him harder, my voice starting to rise. "I'm your sister, Dylan. I've been absolutely killing myself for this party, and now you're telling me that I don't even belong there?" He sighed heavily, like I was somehow the problem. "Gina, just drop it, okay? It's my call." I hung up, my hands trembling with pure anger. 3 solid months of my life, my expertise, my love for my brother, all completely tossed aside because Emma wanted a picture-perfect guest list. I stared at all the contracts on my desk, my name signed on absolutely every single one. I could have fought harder, screamed, or even begged, but a quiet resolve settled deep inside me. I definitely wasn't going to let them just walk all over me. Mom called me back later that evening, her voice even sharper now. "Gina, you really need to support your brother," she said. "This is about family, not about your feelings." I almost laughed right out loud. Family? Where was that family when Dylan kicked me out of his own engagement party? I told her that I wasn't coming. Not as a guest, not as anything. She gasped dramatically like I'd somehow betrayed them all. "You're being completely selfish," she snapped. I ended the call, my heart pounding hard in my chest. They honestly thought they could guilt me into silence, but they were completely wrong. I wasn't just gonna sit back and take all of this. 3 days after my fight with Mom, my dad, Stephen Marshall, called while I was sorting through vendor invoices at my office in Nashville. His voice crackled through the phone, calm but definitely edged with expectation. "Gina, we need to talk about the engagement gift," he said. I froze immediately, already sensing exactly where this conversation was headed. He explained that my brother and his fiancée were expecting a big gesture, like a $3,000 contribution towards a luxurious honeymoon for them. My jaw clenched tightly. I'd already sunk countless hours in my own cash into their party, and now they wanted even more? "Dad, I'm absolutely not paying for that," I said, my tone flat but firm. "I've already done more than enough." His voice hardened noticeably. "Gina, this is for family. You can't just simply opt out like this." I gripped the edge of my desk tightly, trying my best to stay composed. He went on, saying that my brother really deserved this, that I should be proud to help them. Proud? After being told that I wasn't even good enough to show up at the party? I pushed back hard. "Dad, I'm not giving them a single dime when I'm not even welcome at the party." He scoffed dismissively, like I was being incredibly petty. "You're making this way harder than it needs to be," he said. "Just do your part, Gina." I hung up, my pulse racing in my veins. His words echoed Mom's. Family first, your feelings last. I wasn't just hurt, I was absolutely furious. They expected me to basically bankroll their entire celebration, while they happily pushed me completely aside. I tried my best to focus on my work, but my phone pinged with a new Instagram notification. It was a post from my cousin Vanessa Reed, tagged at a flashy Nashville bar called The Bluebird. The photo showed her with my brother and a huge crowd of their friends, all grinning under the neon lights, with the caption, "Best bachelor party ever." Hashtag Dylan and Emma. My stomach dropped instantly. I wasn't just uninvited to the engagement party, I was completely out of their entire inner circle. Vanessa hadn't even bothered to mention me. Not a single text, not even a quick call. I clicked through her story, watching short clips of them all toasting, laughing, and planning the big day that I had built from the ground up. Every single smile felt like a slap right across my face. I'd spent months making their moment absolutely perfect, and they were all partying without even a single thought about me. I messaged Vanessa, trying to keep it short and sweet. "Hey, just saw your post. Was I even supposed to be there?" Her reply came back incredibly fast, and way too casual. "Oh, Gina, it was really just a small thing. Didn't think you'd even care? Didn't think I'd care?" I'd been up countless nights coordinating all of their vendors, double-checking the menus, making absolutely sure that every single detail was completely flawless. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, seriously tempted to fire back a scathing reply. But I stopped myself. She just didn't get it. None of them did. I closed the app, my chest tight with a mix of pure anger and utter betrayal. The very people that I'd poured my heart out for had completely erased me from their celebration. And now they were flaunting it all online for everyone to see. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the huge stack of contracts sitting right there on my desk. My name was on every single one. The venue, the catering, the decorations. I'd called in every favor I had, spent my own hard-earned money, and they still thought that I was somehow disposable. Dad's demand for that $3,000 kept replaying in my head, right alongside Vanessa's carefree Instagram post. They weren't just excluding me, they were milking me for absolutely everything that I had. I definitely wasn't going to let them guilt me into compliance. I'd already done way more than enough, and they'd made it abundantly clear that I just didn't belong. A decision was starting to form in my mind, one that I hadn't fully admitted to myself just yet. I wasn't going to beg for their approval, I was going to take back control. 1 week before the party, I met up with my best friend, Tracy Fisher, at a coffee shop near Music Row. The place was buzzing with the usual Nashville crowd. Musicians, tourists, and the constant hum of ambition. But I barely even noticed any of it. I slid into the booth, my laptop open to a spreadsheet filled with vendor contracts, and I unloaded absolutely everything. "Tracy, they're treating me like I'm nothing," I said, my voice low but steady. I told her exactly how my brother had excluded me from his own engagement party, how my mom sided with him, and how my dad demanded $3,000 for a gift that I wouldn't even be invited to celebrate. And then there was Vanessa's Instagram post, flaunting a bachelor party that I wasn't even a part of. Tracy just listened intently, her eyes narrowing slightly as she sipped her latte without interrupting me even once. When I finally finished, she leaned forward and said, "Gina, you've been running yourself absolutely ragged for these people. Why are you even still managing their party?" I hesitated for a moment. It honestly hadn't even occurred to me to just walk away, not completely. I'd been so caught up in trying to prove my worth and holding on to my family that I hadn't even considered the possibility of simply stopping. Tracy then pointed at my laptop. "You signed all of those contracts, right? With Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager, Teresa Morgan, the caterer, and Brian Walsh, the decorator?" I nodded slowly. Every single agreement had my name right there on it, my reputation backing it up. "Then you have all the power," she said, her voice sharp and confident. "You don't owe them anything. Let your brother figure it all out himself." Her words hit me like a bolt of lightning. I'd spent months carefully coordinating every single detail. Carlos confirming the rooftop setup, Teresa finalizing the delicious southern menu, Brian sketching out intricate floral designs. I'd done all of it completely out of love for my brother. But love definitely wasn't what I was getting back in return. Tracy was absolutely right. I didn't have to keep carrying all of their weight for them. I opened up my email, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. "What if I just stop?" I said, just testing out the idea. Tracy grinned widely. "Exactly! Let them deal with the mess themselves. You deserve so much better than this." I felt a sudden rush of clarity, like a thick fog finally lifting. I definitely wasn't going to beg for a seat at a table that clearly didn't even want me there. I drafted emails to Carlos, Teresa, and Brian, keeping it professional but still firm. I explained that I was stepping back from managing the event due to personal reasons, and that my brother would now be taking over the reins. I didn't really owe them an explanation, but I wanted to protect my professional ties with them. Carlos replied almost instantly, sounding completely confused. "Gina, you're like the glue that's holding everything together here. Are you absolutely sure about this?" I was. Teresa called me, her voice sounding worried. "We're totally on track because of you. He's just not ready for this." I thanked her sincerely but stood my ground. Brian texted me, just asking if I was okay. I didn't reply to his message. My decision was finally final. That night, I just sat alone in my apartment, staring blankly at my phone. There were no calls from my family, no apologies, just complete silence. I opened up a travel website and started searching for flights to Oahu, Hawaii. The idea had been lingering in the back of my mind ever since that very first text, but now it suddenly felt incredibly real. I wasn't just running away from my problems. I was finally choosing myself for once. I found a flight that was leaving Nashville early the very morning of the party, landing in Honolulu by that afternoon. I pictured myself relaxing on Waikiki Beach, far away from the chaos that I was about to unleash back home. My finger hovered right over the book button, my heart pounding hard in my chest with a mix of pure defiance and newfound freedom. I clicked it. The confirmation email pinged instantly, locking in my official escape. I called Tracy right away to tell her the big news. "I'm officially out," I said, my voice sounding lighter than it had in weeks. "I'm going to Hawaii," she laughed triumphantly. "Good for you, Gina. Let them all figure out their own party for once." I hung up the phone, feeling an enormous weight finally lifting off my shoulders. My family thought they could just use me and then toss me aside without a second thought, but I was completely done playing their manipulative game. I wasn't just stepping back from the party. I was walking away completely, leaving them to face the consequences of all of their selfish choices. My phone stayed completely quiet, but I knew that wasn't going to last for very long. They'd all realize soon enough exactly what they had lost. The morning of the party, I sat in the Nashville airport, sipping my coffee. My boarding pass for Honolulu was tucked safely away in my pocket, and my suitcase was already packed and ready for Oahu. The terminal was buzzing with travelers, but I actually felt incredibly calm, almost weightless, knowing that I'd walked away from my brother's impending chaos. I'd officially handed over the reins, and now it was his mess to handle all on his own. My phone was still completely silent. No apologies, no last-minute pleas from my family. I honestly wasn't surprised by any of it. They'd all taken me completely for granted for far too long, and I was finally done waiting around for them to even care. Back in Nashville, the rooftop venue was starting to unravel very quickly. Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager, called my brother early that morning, his voice tight with frustration. Without my oversight, the entire setup was a complete disaster. Half of the tables were missing their centerpieces. The beautiful floral arches that I'd carefully planned with Brian Walsh were completely missing, replaced with some cheap balloons that didn't even match the overall country chic vibe. Guests were already starting to arrive, and the staff was scrambling around frantically, unsure of who was even in charge anymore. Carlos tried desperately to reach me, but I'd already made it perfectly clear that I was completely out of the picture. "Your brother is completely clueless," he texted me, but I didn't even bother to respond. I'd honestly warned them all about this. Teresa Morgan, the caterer, was facing her own personal nightmare. The southern menu that I had carefully finalized, barbecue sliders, cornbread, peach cobbler, was completely botched. Without my careful coordination, all of the wrong dishes arrived, with cold sandwiches instead of hot entrees, no desserts at all, and a complete mix-up with all the vegetarian options. Guests were grumbling loudly, posting angry complaints all over social media about the tacky food at what was supposed to be a classy event. Teresa left my brother a frustrated voicemail, her tone sharp. Gina had absolutely everything under control. What in the world happened? He didn't have a good answer. He was basically drowning, trying to micromanage a team that no longer had a leader. Brian Walsh, the decorator, was equally lost. The personalized engraved name cards that I had designed were nowhere to be found, and the lighting setup was incomplete, leaving the entire rooftop dim and uninviting. Guests were whispering about the obviously half-finished decor, with some even deciding to just leave early. My brother and his fiancée were right there at the center of the storm, fielding complaints left and right while trying their best to keep up appearances. Tensions quickly boiled over. During one particularly heated moment right by the bar, she actually snapped at him, her voice loud enough to carry over the entire crowd. "This is completely your fault. You said that you could handle all of this." He fired right back, blaming her for pushing me completely away. Their argument quickly escalated, with guests staring in shocked disbelief as the picture-perfect couple completely unraveled right in front of everyone. My phone started buzzing incessantly as I waited at the gate. First, a text from my mom. "Gina, the party is a complete mess. Call me immediately." Then, a text from my dad. "Where are you? You need to fix this." My brother even sent a string of desperate messages, each one more frantic than the last. "Gina, the vendors are completely freaking out. You have to help us." I just stared at the screen, my coffee slowly cooling in my hand. They'd completely ignored me for months, dismissing my work and my worth. Now, when their big day was crumbling right before their very eyes, they suddenly wanted me to swoop in and save the day. I quickly silenced my phone, slipping it back into my bag. I definitely wasn't their safety net anymore. As I boarded the plane, another text came through. This one was from an unknown number, probably just a guest at the party. "This party is a complete joke. Where's the planner?" I didn't reply at all. The flight attendant announced our takeoff, and I leaned back in my seat, picturing all the chaos unfolding back in Nashville. My brother and his fiancée were likely still arguing with each other, their voices drowned out by all the complaints. Carlos, Teresa, and Brian were probably scrambling to salvage whatever they possibly could. But without my clear direction, it was absolutely hopeless. The rooftop, which was meant to be a glowing celebration, was now just a sad patchwork of mistakes. Empty tables, all the wrong food, and dim lighting. I felt a slight pang of guilt for a moment, but it quickly passed. They'd all made their own selfish choices, and so had I. I thought back to what Tracy had said to me. "You have all the power." For once, I was actually using that power for myself. My family fully expected me to come clean up their mess, but I was finally done being their convenient fallback. The plane's engines roared to life, and I closed my eyes, ready for Honolulu. My phone was vibrating once again down in my bag, but I completely ignored it. They could call all they wanted. I was already long gone. The plane finally landed in Honolulu, and I felt the warm ocean breeze from Waikiki as I stepped outside. Oahu welcomed me with warm air and the distant, soothing hum of the waves, a world away from all the chaos back in Nashville. I checked into a small, cozy hotel just steps from the beach, my room overlooking the beautiful turquoise water. For the first time in months, I breathed easy. There were no vendor emails or constant family demands weighing me down. I was here to finally find myself, not to fix anyone else's mess. On my very first morning, I walked barefoot along Waikiki Beach, the soft sand feeling amazing under my feet. Tourists were snapping photos, surfers were riding the waves, and I just let the calming rhythm of the ocean pull me away from all the resentment. I honestly wasn't ready to forgive my family just yet, but I really wanted to try to let go of all the anger that I was still holding on to. I even signed up for a meditation class at a local Buddhist temple tucked away in a quiet valley. The instructor, a kind woman named Leilani, guided us through gentle breathing exercises, her voice calm and grounding. "Focus on your truth," she said softly. I sat there cross-legged, my eyes closed, just trying my best to release all the hurt. My brother's painful rejection, my mom's casual dismissal, my dad's constant pressure, and my cousin's complete indifference. It wasn't easy by any means, but each deep breath felt like a small step towards inner peace. Back at the hotel that afternoon, I started keeping a journal. I wrote about all the months that I'd spent pouring my heart and soul into a party that didn't even want me there, and the deep sting of being sidelined by the very people that I loved. But I also wrote about the beautiful waves, the serene temple, and the way Leilani's words made me feel truly seen. Writing became my anchor, a healthy way to process everything without completely breaking down. I wasn't crying or raging. I was slowly rebuilding myself, piece by piece. My phone buzzed occasionally, with texts from my mom, dad, and even my brother. But I still didn't open any of them. Their urgency just didn't matter here. I was completely done being their personal problem solver. On my third day there, Tracy texted me a link with a simple message. "Check this out." It was an article that she'd published on a popular online news site, titled, "Event Planner Excluded from Family's Big Day Speaks Out." My heart raced as I eagerly read it. Tracy, who is not only my best friend but also a talented freelance journalist, had interviewed me right before I left Nashville, carefully weaving my story into a powerful piece about difficult family dynamics and standing up for yourself. She detailed exactly how I'd spent months meticulously organizing a flawless engagement party, only to be carelessly cast aside for not fitting their desired vibe. She made sure not to name my family members directly, but the truth was still crystal clear. The article was raw, honest, and it was spreading rapidly all over the internet. I scrolled through the comments, reading hundreds of them. Strangers were bravely sharing their own personal stories of being undervalued, of choosing themselves over toxic expectations. "You're such an inspiration, Gina," one person wrote. "Don't let them dim your light," said another. A small community was forming right there, with people that I'd never even met cheering me on. My inbox quickly filled up with messages from all sorts of readers, with some offering heartfelt support and others asking for advice on setting healthy boundaries. I definitely wasn't alone anymore. Tracy's article had somehow turned my personal pain into something much bigger, a powerful rallying cry for anyone who had ever been pushed aside and made to feel like they weren't good enough. I texted her back immediately. "You're absolutely incredible, thank you so much." She simply replied with a heart emoji. No further words were needed. I continued to explore Oahu, renting a bike to ride along the beautiful coast, and stopping at local food trucks for refreshing shave ice and delicious poke bowls. The island's vibrant energy, the swaying palm trees, and the soothing ukulele music drifting from open-air bars felt like a true gift. I even joined a sunset yoga session right on the beach, stretching under a beautiful pink sky and feeling stronger with every pose. My journal grew thicker each day, with pages filled with heartfelt reflections on what I truly deserved, not what my family thought that I owed them. I wasn't hiding from my problems. I was actively rediscovering my own self-worth. My phone kept buzzing every so often, with missed calls from my mom, dad, my cousin, and even a few from unknown numbers, likely just guests from the disastrous party. But I still didn't answer any of them. Their messages kept piling up, but I honestly didn't even care to read them. I'd spent far too long just trying to please them, And now I was finally choosing myself. Tracy's powerful article had shown me that my story really mattered, that I wasn't wrong at all for walking away. The overwhelming support from all of those strangers online felt so much more real and genuine than my family's last-minute desperation. I honestly wasn't ready to confront them just yet, and maybe I never would be. For now, just being in Oahu was more than enough. 2 weeks after my trip, I finally returned to Nashville, my apartment as quiet and peaceful as it had been when I originally left. Oahu had given me a much-needed sense of clarity, a chance to rebuild my life away from the heavy weight of my family's unrealistic expectations. I carefully set my suitcase down, the faint scent of the ocean still clinging to my clothes, and cautiously checked my phone. A massive flood of notifications was waiting for me, missed calls, texts, and voicemails, mostly from my mom, dad, and my cousin. But I still didn't open any of them. Their empty words just couldn't undo everything that they'd already done. I was finally ready to move forward with my life, not backward. Tracy called me that evening, her voice brimming with exciting news. "Gina, you are absolutely not going to believe what has happened," she said excitedly. She'd heard through some mutual friends that my brother and his fiancée had officially called off their engagement. The disastrous party had been the final breaking point. Guests complaining about the lackluster setup, the awful food, and the dim lighting, and their very public argument that night had exposed cracks in their relationship that just couldn't be mended. Emma had officially walked out, blaming my brother for mishandling absolutely everything, while he blamed her for pushing me away. I listened quietly, my heart feeling surprisingly steady, not even surprised. They'd essentially built their entire celebration on my hard work, and then they'd carelessly discarded me. Now they were facing all of the inevitable fallout. I honestly didn't feel any joy at their split, but I definitely didn't feel any guilt either. I'd given them absolutely everything that I had to give. My time, my skills, and my heart, and they had just thrown it all away without a second thought. Tracy asked if I maybe wanted to reach out to them, maybe even talk to my brother. I slowly shook my head, even though she couldn't see it. "No," I said firmly. "I'm completely done trying to fix things for them." She didn't push me at all, just said that she was incredibly proud of me. Her unwavering support, unlike my family's conditional love, was a powerful reminder of what real loyalty actually looked like. My family kept trying desperately to reach me. My mom left several voicemails, her tone noticeably softer now, practically begging me to meet with her. My dad sent texts insisting that we all talk this out like rational adults. Even my cousin left a vague and half-hearted message, vaguely mentioning the party's failure like it was somehow my fault. I just deleted them all. I'd spent far too many years bending over backwards to meet their every demand, sacrificing my own inner peace just to try to keep them all happy. Not anymore. I honestly wasn't angry at them anymore, just finally resolute. Cutting them off completely wasn't about spite or revenge. It was about actively protecting myself. I blocked all of their numbers one by one, feeling lighter with each tap of my finger. My apartment, which was once a constant place of stress and endless vendor calls, became my peaceful sanctuary. Tracy's powerful article, which was still circulating rapidly all over the internet, had changed absolutely everything. My inbox was overflowing with inquiries from event planners all across Nashville, impressed not only by my personal story, but also by my professional work. A local music festival organizer contacted me about coordinating their huge spring event. A lovely couple who were planning their upcoming wedding reached out, inspired by how I'd stood up for myself. Even a corporate client who was hosting a high-profile gala downtown asked me for a consultation. I met them at a sleek office right near the Cumberland River, confidently pitching innovative ideas for elegant setups with a unique Southern twist. They signed the contract right there on the spot, my biggest one yet. Tracy's powerful words had somehow turned my personal pain into incredible opportunity, finally proving my worth to a much larger world that extended far beyond just my immediate family. I started journaling again, but this time not about my hurt feelings. I was writing about my personal growth. I wrote about all the strength that it took to finally walk away, to choose myself over people who couldn't even see my true value. Each new contract that I signed felt like a meaningful validation, not just of my professional skills, but also of my brave decision to finally stop begging for their approval. I was no longer the victim in their twisted story. I was now the author of my own. The same Gina who had dedicated months to planning a celebration where she wasn't wanted. I had become someone who understood her value, who established personal limits far more resilient than any floral arrangement I could create. Hindsight revealed the moral of the story with stark clarity. Honoring myself meant releasing those who didn't, regardless of familial ties. My brother, mother, father, cousin, they had all expected me to shoulder their burdens, to remain silent when they excluded me. I had striven to embody the ideal daughter, the perfect sister, but that standard of perfection demanded too heavy a toll. Stepping away wasn't simple, but it felt correct. I no longer required their endorsement. I possessed my career, my narrative, and a supportive network of individuals who had encouraged me when my own family wouldn't. Self-respect, I discovered, was the bedrock upon which everything else was built. Lacking it, I would still be desperately seeking their approval, progressively vanishing in the endeavor. The same Gina who had poured months into planning a party where she wasn't even truly wanted. I had finally become someone who recognized my own inherent worth. Someone who had erected personal boundaries that were far stronger and more resilient than any elaborate floral archway I could ever design. Looking back on it all, the lesson was crystal clear. Respecting myself meant consciously letting go of those who didn't respect me, and that applied whether they were family or not. My brother, my mom, my dad, even my cousin. They had all just expected me to carry their emotional baggage, to remain completely silent whenever they deliberately pushed me to the sidelines. I had desperately tried to be the perfect daughter, the perfect sister, but that relentless pursuit of perfection demanded too incredibly high of a price. Walking away from them definitely wasn't easy in the slightest, but it was undeniably the right thing to do for myself. I simply didn't need their constant validation anymore. I finally had my meaningful work, my own unique story, and a solid community of supportive strangers who had wholeheartedly lifted me up when my own flesh and blood simply wouldn't. Self-respect, I came to discover, was truly the fundamental foundation upon which absolutely everything else in my life was built. Without it, I knew I'd still be hopelessly chasing after their fleeting approval, gradually losing myself completely in the whole agonizing process.